Unfaithful on with 12 people. 3 years ago, things were pretty messed up between my ex and me. We'd been together for 3 whole years, but then he broke up with me after trying to work things out. In hindsight, I wish I had ended things earlier because I eventually found out that he was unfaithful to me 12 times in a year or so. It felt like I had no idea what was going on until the very end. I remember having chronic yeast infections and feeling like his energy would shift sometimes. But there were other signs too, little clues that didn't make sense at the time. Then one night, everything changed. He told me he needed a break because he had been getting text messages from a girl, but those were all lies. He said it wasn't true that he was unfaithful on me with her. After the break, we kept talking and talking. Every single conversation felt like he was hiding something new. Is that everything? I'd ask, and he would say yes, and then more information would come out. It was so frustrating and confusing. I trusted him every time he said it was all over with no lies, only to find out he was fibbing again. Eventually, when we finally did break up, I had a really bad episode. I tried to take my own life because of the pain and confusion. 3 years later, I'm still dealing with the aftermath. Romance feels like such a scary thing now. I don't think I can ever trust anyone again. It's so messed up that people can lie to the ones they say they love. But it wasn't just lies, it was whole different realities he was building for me. Once we started talking, my reality would shatter with each new truth. I'm still angry and ashamed, but even though he took a lot from me, I care about him and wonder what he's like now. From mutual friends, I know he has a partner now, which makes things hard to think about. Sometimes my mind wanders wondering if he ever unfaithful since me or if it was really just me who made mistakes. I am in a LDR and found my MBF unfaithful on me F with his ex-best friend from Scotland who is F. On IMVU, where we first connected, my boyfriend and I spent years gaming together, video calling, and having late-night movie nights. A year into our relationship, I finally flew to his place for a visit on the week of his birthday. I was there to help him clean up and surprise him with a baked birthday cake. But when he left to run errands, he forgot his phone behind. Being the trustful person that I am, I went through his messages, just to play some music on Spotify, I swear. Little did I know, his ex-girlfriend was calling him honey and master while he called her pet. My heart sank when I read those messages. Feeling betrayed, I confronted him. He begged for forgiveness, crying on the floor. For one last chance, we talked everything out. But it felt like my own foolishness pushed us apart. I told him to go and be with his other friends, but he ended up setting boundaries and telling her to stop using those nicknames. She eventually stopped messaging him, but at midnight, she sent, "Happy birthday XXX." My boyfriend showed me the message and said he had no idea what it meant. After a whole week of checking his phone, I learned that XXX meant kisses. We talked about our fears, and he even gave me access to his Facebook login so I could see he wasn't messaging her anymore. He explained how they'd been flirting since 2019, but now she was married, making everything worse. He told me the truth, logged out of his account, and asked me to trust him. But how can I? The thought of him talking to her behind my back still haunts me. I love him so much, but I'm scared he might be doing it again. How do I let go of what happened and truly trust him once more? Heterosexual M/47 and I gave into the temptation of gay sex. I've always been into girls, never thought about guys like that before. But lately, girls just aren't around as much in my life. Last night, something strange happened. I let a guy do whatever he wanted to me. He started by giving me head and pinching my nipples really hard. I was so turned on, I said yes when he asked if he could go further. It felt incredible, the most intense orgasm I've ever had. It was amazing. Now I'm wondering if I should try it again just because it felt so good. Captain of the starship. You're on a huge spaceship zooming through space, way out there where Earth is just a tiny dot. You stand tall on the command deck surrounded by busy crew members, but you've been captain here for 50 years, lots of adventures under your belt. Remember the time you found a tree that could cure all diseases? Or when you stumbled upon tech to control the weather? Now it's almost over. You're headed to planet Beta 4, your last stop. You'll hand off command and retire, but dang, you'll miss the adventure, it flew by so fast. Suddenly, First Officer Taney darts over to you. Captain, he says, sounding urgent. We got an urgent message from Earth headquarters. They want to talk to you alone. Now. You don't often get those kinds of calls, but this isn't a joke. You rush to your office and sit down, turning on the screen. There's Admiral Kenny, the head of Journey Command. Captain, he says with a nod, good to see you. It's an honor, Admiral, you reply, trying to stay calm. We're docking soon. Admiral Kenny's face grows serious. Captain, listen, there is no planet Beta 4. You freeze for a moment, wondering if he's joking. But Admiral Kenny never jokes. What do you mean? The mission is done, you say, trying to stay collected. He takes a deep breath and continues. Actually, Captain, you're just getting started. You sit up straighter. With all due respect, sir, that's preposterous. Captain, hear me out, he says. We've had this conversation before, many times. You feel disoriented, something's not right here. I don't remember any of that, you say. Admiral Kenny nods. That's the thing, Captain, that hasn't been 50 years. Sir. I don't understand, you reply. How long has it been? He looks at you closely through the screen. Pause, you've been captain for 4,700 years. You cry out in shock, losing your composure. This is crazy. But Admiral Kenny is completely serious. Your adventures are endless. You keep going, new discoveries, new wonders. It's a dream come true for you and humanity. The room feels like it's twisting and spinning. But that makes no sense, you say, trying to hide how strange you feel. I don't remember any of this. Anne. I'm old. Not really, Admiral Kenny replies. We wipe your memory every 50 years or so to give you renewed energy. Your heart races as he explains the process is fast and painless, just a warm glow that fills every room on the ship. Soon, you and the crew will be young again, ready for more adventures. You don't understand. You don't get any of this. Admiral Kenny looks reflective. It's brilliant really, he says. I wasn't sure about it in the beginning, but you showed us. Showed us, you ask? Well, after all, he says, it was your idea. Out of the corner of your eye, a light you've never seen before pulls back from part of the ceiling. You start to feel that warm glow. Thoughts on physical attention. So, I've been dating my girlfriend for about 2 weeks now, and it's really got me thinking. She doesn't seem to be a big fan of physical touch, she doesn't initiate much, even with simple things like kissing. It feels one-sided at times. But in other ways, she's super consistent, she texts all the time, makes sure we have plans, and cooks for me too. We've gone pretty far physically together, but I always feel like I'm the one who has to start things. She's also mentioned that she doesn't really enjoy sex very often and prefers to wait until she feels ready. This has got me wondering, am I just moving at a different pace than her or is there something more? Her ex did some stuff in the past that made her uncomfortable, so it makes me worry about whether things are okay between us. I mean, we've only been dating for 2 weeks, but the way she acts towards me is really confusing. I'm trying to figure out if this is just her personality or if there's something else going on. It's hard not to wonder sometimes. I intentionally kept the extra change a cashier gave me and never went back to return it. I still think about it even though it happened a couple of years ago. You see, I was just buying some groceries when the cashier accidentally gave me about $40 more than I should have gotten back. I noticed right away that something was off, but instead of saying anything, I just put the extra money in my wallet and walked out. At first, I told myself it wasn't a big deal and the store wouldn't notice if I didn't return it. But later on, I realized it probably wasn't the store that would suffer, it could have been the cashier who ended up short at the end of their shift. That thought has bothered me ever since. I've never gone back to try to make things right because too much time has passed, and I feel ashamed that I took advantage of someone's mistake knowingly. I regret doing it, and if I were in the same situation today, I'd return the money without thinking twice. I think I'm not a good friend. Ever since elementary school, people always thought of me as the therapist friend. I was really good at understanding others' emotions and could listen without judgment. But after high school, something changed. I stopped caring so much about what other people were feeling. These days, I don't show my own feelings openly, instead, I laugh even when things aren't funny just to keep a straight face. It's like I'm putting on this mask that hides all the emotions inside. I used to be great at being a friend, I would listen and offer support without hesitation. But now, if someone vents to me, I'll either read their message and not respond or respond with something like, damn, that sucks, or say sorry but admit that I'm not good at comforting people. When they need advice, I try to help, but then they get upset because it feels like I'm only thinking about myself. I have a friend who's known me for 2 years now, and honestly, she doesn't feel much like a real friend anymore. She's always complaining or talking about something new she wants or some drama that happened. It's tiring to be around her all the time. And it's not just with her, I find myself in similar situations with everyone. The only time I talk about me is when someone specifically asks, but even then, they rarely care. I used to vent to people, but now I don't do that anymore because no one really listens anyway. When asked how I'm doing, if I say I'm not feeling well or that I'm sick or mentally exhausted, the response is always about them and their problems. It's rare for anyone to actually care about me. Talking to people just feels so draining now. I rarely initiate conversations, it's much easier to stay in my own head than deal with all the drama and self-centeredness around me. That's why I'm here, on Reddit, trying to voice my feelings. I might have gone a little on a rant, but hey, sometimes you just need someone to hear you out. AITA for not wanting to move/care for my disabled father. My dad, M62, had a stroke 8 years ago and now can only move half his body. It's hard for him to get around the house, and he needs constant care. His mom used to look after him, but she's moving into a care home now. My dad thinks it's time for me to take over. I'm M39, his only son. I can't imagine devoting 20 years of my life to caring for him. It feels like he's asking me to give up my whole future just to help him. My dad is a kind guy, but sometimes I feel like he doesn't understand how hard it would be on me. He even threatened to live in his car because I can't promise to take care of him. AITA for not being willing to move in and look after him. The quietest room in the university. Everyone knew about the silent reading hall, but almost no one knew about the secret room behind it. The entrance was hidden behind a revolving bookcase that only opened when the last student left for the evening. Those who did find it were surprised to see no shelves or desks, there was just a single wooden chair facing a tall window with nothing but stars outside. Professor Halden visited this chamber once every year, not for research or studying, but simply to sit in that chair until dawn. Mara, his newest apprentice, finally earned permission to join him. She thought he would give her a lecture on secret knowledge, but instead, they sat in silence together. Hours passed, and Mara couldn't help asking, "What are we waiting for?" Halden replied, "The next idea." Mara frowned, puzzled, because she thought ideas came from books. He explained, "They start there, but grow somewhere quieter." As the stars outside slowly shifted, one bright point separated and drifted toward the window pane. When it touched, words appeared on its surface. Every great library begins with someone asking what has never been asked before. The light faded, and the stars returned to their slow procession. Nothing else happened. As dawn arrived, Mara realized she had spent the night thinking more deeply than ever while reading. On their way back to the waking university, she turned her head to look behind them. "Will I ever see that room again?" Halden smiled and said, "You'll find it whenever your curiosity grows louder than the world." Years later, after becoming a professor herself, Mara searched for the hidden doorway but never found it. She didn't need to because she had learned that the quietest room in the university was always within the mind willing to wonder. My boyfriend is making me the bad guy after kicking me out. 4 days ago, my relationship came to an end in anything but a peaceful and respectful way. My ex gave me just 2 hours to pack all of my stuff and leave his place. Although it was technically his house, we both lived there and shared financial responsibilities. Our time together had been plagued with issues for a long time. He unfaithful on me at least 4 times, lied about everything from his drug use to small things like promising to do chores he never followed through on. He also constantly criticized my appearance, telling me I looked unhappy and needed to smile more because otherwise, his family and friends would think badly of me. One of the most traumatic experiences in our relationship was when I became pregnant. From the moment I told him, he made it clear that he didn't want the baby. For 2 weeks, he relentlessly called and texted me, saying that if I continued with the pregnancy, he would take his own life. Eventually, after being emotionally worn down, I had an abortion. Just 2 days later, he unfaithful on me again because, according to him, everything had become too much for him. While I was devastated, grieving, and crying constantly, he chose to go out drinking with friends and sleep with someone else. Despite everything, I stayed because I was emotionally exhausted and my nervous system was completely overwhelmed. A few weeks before the breakup, we had a serious conversation about our relationship. I told him that I was unhappy and wanted to end things. He begged me to stay, promising that he would truly put in the effort and do everything he could to make things better. I decided to give him one last chance. Shortly after, my grandfather became critically ill and eventually passed away. In the days leading up to his passing, I visited him every day, so understandably, my focus was not on household chores. At the same time, I was between jobs. My new job started on September 1st, which meant I temporarily struggled to pay my share of the rent on time. I told him I was working on it, and within a day, I had found a solution. Despite that, he spent the entire day calling and texting me about the money. During those conversations, he also criticized me because the laundry hadn't been done and the house wasn't clean. Eventually, I ended the call because he started belittling me. Mind you, my grandpa had just passed away. When I got home, he wanted to talk immediately. I told him I didn't think that was a good idea because he was already extremely agitated, and I suggested we discuss it later. Instead, the situation escalated. He started yelling at me and demanded that I leave the house immediately. He locked me on the balcony because I wouldn't immediately leave. I said if you can't handle being here now, you should leave. I wasn't home for the entire day. I told him I would leave, but that I would be taking my belongings with me. He said I wasn't allowed to. However, most of the furniture and household items had been bought and paid for by me, so I called my father and some friends to help me move. He left before they arrived. I only took the things that belonged to me or that I had paid for. Fortunately, I managed to find a new apartment on the same day and moved in immediately. Today, I contacted him because I still have his laptop. During that conversation, he demanded that I pay him money for the rent. I don't believe I owe him that money, especially because he still owes me money himself. We had invested together in a rented property that is entirely in his name. I put a significant amount of money into it, but now that we're no longer together, I have no access to it and effectively lost my investment. During that conversation, he completely reversed the story. According to him, I am the one who left him with nothing, and he is the victim. I ransacked the entire apartment. I have no doubt that this is the version of events he will tell everyone we know. That is what hurts me the most. We lived in a small town where everyone knows each other. I'm afraid people will only hear his version of the story and form opinions about me without knowing what actually happened. My parents still live there, and many of my friends do too. I'm worried that my friends will feel pressure to choose sides and that I will lose not only my relationship but also my community. The breakup itself doesn't make me sad anymore. Looking back, I know this relationship was unhealthy and that I had already been unhappy for a long time. What grieves me is losing my home, my sense of stability, some of my friendships, and possibly my reputation because of a narrative that does not reflect the reality of what happened. Looking back, I also realize how much he lied. He constantly claimed he had no money, yet I found cocaine in the kitchen drawer almost every day. He insisted he only used it on weekends, but I never believed that. I feel so sad about the whole situation. I would have never broken up like this. I have been struggling to communicate with my husband since our marital fracture. My husband and I have been married for 10 years now, but recently we had a big problem in our marriage. We talked about our issues many times, but every time, I left feeling like nothing got resolved. It was hard to share my feelings because it seemed like they weren't taken seriously. He had trouble accepting accountability too. A few weeks ago, he told me he felt disconnected and wasn't as much in love anymore. He said I wasn't the same woman he married years ago. He kept all these feelings bottled up for a long time. We used to have fun together, but now it feels like there's no romance or intimacy left. I tried my best to tell him we could fix things, and he agreed. But as soon as this happened, he started acting weird at work, crossing boundaries with a woman, hiding stuff from me, lying too. I couldn't prove anything was romantic or sexual, but it still hurt. It made me feel like I wasn't his priority anymore. To be honest, I went through his things to find answers. I know that's not always okay, but in this case, I just needed some proof. We both broke trust with each other during all of this. He refused to go to marriage counseling and wouldn't seem interested in planning anything for us together. He said everything happened because he finally expressed his feelings to me and learned that he shouldn't do it again. That made me feel like my feelings didn't matter at all. Every time we talk, I get nervous and can't fully express myself. It's hard when he says things that make me doubt myself even more. After many conversations, he got tired of talking about it and said he was spent on the whole thing. Talking made him feel disconnected from me, so he wanted to stop. There are still unresolved hurts and questions I have, but it feels like my hands are tied. Before all this, our marriage had problems because of his depression and mine. He always seemed busy with work or other things, leaving me to handle almost everything on my own. His words about not showing up for me changed so much that it made me lose trust in him completely. I end up apologizing more than I should and don't stick up for myself like I would want to. I'm afraid of my feelings being taken out of context or minimized, which makes things even harder. WIBTA for not going to my FIL's birthday dinner. So, my dad's brother is turning 50 in a few days, and he really wants to go out for a fancy steak dinner. I've been vegan for over 2 decades now, so it's not like I'm going to be swayed by some juicy steaks or anything. The thing is, I feel pretty uncomfortable going somewhere where there are no options for me. You see, my husband and I live far away from our families, and we're coming home to celebrate his birthday with both of them. It's been a long time since they've seen us, so it's a big deal. But here's the kicker, in the past, when he visited us, he'd actually make faces at my homemade meals and laugh, or just plain refuse to eat anything that had vegetables in it. Can you believe it? I mean, what kind of person refuses to eat their sister-in-law's cooking? We're flying in late on the day before his birthday, after a grueling 18-hour travel time. It's going to be tough enough dealing with the jet lag and everything, but now we have this big surprise party for him 2 days later. I actually came up with that idea, surprise parties are my forte. So, here we are, stuck between a rock and a hard place, go somewhere where there's nothing vegan on the menu or risk disappointing everyone at our own surprise party. It's going to be one heck of a challenge. Stuck. Is it really trespassing when only the upper half of your body is inside another's private property? Yeah, ma'am, it definitely is. Not to mention the hole you carved in the monastery's wall. I told you already, officer, it was an emergency. You don't know what it's like to deal with a vengeful egg, resentful of a babyless cycle. Yeah, I do, every female knows that. In fact, I'm dealing with it right now. Well, that explains a lot. Anyways, you don't see me breaking and entering because of it, so I can't see how this is any different. Think you humans have it bad? Why? Because your eggs stab you from within for days on end? Because they drown your brain in hormones until you're despairing? Because you go through it 179 times more often than we do? Boo-hoo. At least, our eggs don't blow up our butts. I'm sorry to hear of that, ma'am. Still, why were you hanging in a hole at someone else's wall? Because I'm stranded on an alien world and mailless. Do you have any idea what it's like to be known as someone who couldn't secure a mail? To lay on your belly for days on end while your butt tissue is rebuilt? Have I mentioned my eggs blow up my ass? Yes, ma'am. And I still don't see how this is police business. How else was I supposed to persuade my step-colleague to fertilize me? You lost me there, ma'am. So you don't know how to attract a mate, huh? Color me surprised. Just Google it, that's what I did. It takes 30 seconds. Wait, what website did your search take you to? Website. Damn, officer, do you not use your own search engine? Just ask and it gives you the answer. You mean the AI overview? Yes. I typed how to censored dat NSFW or anywhere, nope, not writing that, and it gave me step-by-step instructions. It's starting to make sense now. I knew you would get there, officer. Anyway, I didn't come here mailless, I'm not stupid. I had my dear Glora with me, my life mate. The greatest specimen the galaxy has ever produced. Glora was thoughtful as ever, worried about his old friend Glenner, alone in an alien world. So, after much insistence, I convinced Glora to transfer here to be close to his buddy. But just as I was entering my fertile period, Glora decided that he's not being honest with me, that it's unfair to keep me trapped in a lie, and that he must free me to find someone who can make me happy. I'm sorry to hear it, ma'am. Must have been really hard on you. Yes, but I'm not a woman to take things lying down. I ran to Glenner, pinned him to the wall, my eye stalks unequivocally stating I meant business and said, "Who's the B word that sniped my Glora?" Let me guess, he swore there was no other woman. Yes. Men are all the same, across the galaxy. Always covering for each other. And all of that led you to be hanging in a hole in the monastery's wall? Yes. Trapped on an alien world without a male, with 2 eggs growing beneath my cheeks day by day, so I got desperate. I started sneakily testing the colleagues of my human workplace for genetic compatibility and, are you sure you don't want a lawyer, ma'am? No, I didn't do anything illegal. I just collected samples from discarded cups and whatnot. That's not illegal. And when that didn't work, I started stabbing them and blamed it on the hormones. They didn't like it but seemed too embarrassed to ask further questions. Jesus, Mary, Joseph. Eventually, I found a genetic match, not enough for babies but just enough to trick my eggs into leaving peacefully instead of explosively. I assume that's the colleague who found you hanging in the hole in the wall. Yes. I followed the instructions from my search and got stuck rear upwards, in view of my step-colleague. Didn't go as planned, did it? After 184 years of marriage, I'm a bit out of practice. He asked if I consented to being touched, and instead of fertilizing me, he pushed me out of the hole. And that's when you flew into the altar of 1,000 porcelains. Yes, I flew into the altar of 1,000 porcelains. Listen, ma'am. I'll have to open an investigation on all your stabbing, but since we don't have any formal complaint at the moment, I don't have justification to keep you in. As for your breaking and entering, knowing the Cis Brothers of the Church of the Holy they slash them, they'll probably refrain from pressing charges if you fix their wall and apologize to Cis Bro Magenta for breaking their 8,000-year-old china. While you're out there, however little this might be, why don't you try asking your step-colleague out? Ask him out. Yes, take him for a cup of coffee or something. Figure if you hit it off and see where things go from there. Why do humans have to be so complicated? And that's when I flew into the altar of 1,000 porcelains. AITA for stonewalling coworker after getting laid off. I got recently laid off from a big company. As part of my departure, I made sure to clean up all the sensitive stuff and hand over what was necessary. The day before my last day, one of my coworkers messaged me out of the blue. She said she had been assigned the project I used to lead and wanted to meet with me. But this wasn't just any coworker, she hadn't even checked in on me or offered help when we heard about the layoffs. I told her I couldn't meet, suggesting she could just send an email instead. She ended up sending me 3 questions through chat, which I answered. But I directed her to the person who would have all the information. When she asked if I had any materials left, I explained that I had cleaned everything up as instructed and didn't have anything. She didn't thank me for a second. At an event later in the week, she confronted me about my professionalism. She said I should have spent those days after the layoffs helping her out with the project. But to be honest, it felt like the company was already ditching me, so I didn't feel like going above and beyond. She kept talking about how surprised she was that she got the project, but I told her it wasn't personal. If anyone else had asked, I would have done the same thing because I felt like they were leaving me out in the cold. She just didn't see it that way. Was I being an a-hole? I'm confused about whether I'm developing feelings for my friend or if I'm mistaking a deep friendship for something romantic. So here's the story. I've known this friend for about 6 months now, and we've really become close buddies. She's always been the one initiating our hangouts, started with simple coffee catch-ups, then we even went on a weekend trip together when some mutual friends dropped out at the last minute, no romance there. Now she invites me along on errands like grocery shopping and going to stores. We see each other practically every day now. She's recently gotten over a long-term relationship, and I've been dealing with some family stuff that's brought up some tough emotions. So we bonded through supporting each other. Our talks last for hours, and we chat about everything under the sun. It's crazy, I have other girlfriends, but none of them feel like she does. Whenever we talk about relationships, she always ends by saying something like, "I'm just looking to build friendships right now." I used to take that at face value, but recently things changed. About 2 weeks ago, she told me she started talking to a guy and was trying to figure out if it would work. Last time we hung out, she mentioned going to a singles event. She's been really clear about us just being friends, and I respect that. But here's where the confusion kicks in. I'm starting to feel something for her. At first, I never thought of her romantically, but now, I'm not sure. I wonder if it's just because we have this unusually deep emotional connection, something I've never experienced before with a girl. On one hand, part of me thinks it might be romantic attraction. But on the other hand, I worry that if she asks me to be her boyfriend today, I wouldn't know what to say. Maybe I'm just feeling this intense friendship stuff and confusing it with romance. I've never had such a deep emotional connection with anyone before, so now I'm questioning everything. Should I back off and create some distance? Or should I let the feelings run their course while still staying friends? Has anyone else been in this situation before? How did you figure out if those feelings were truly romantic or just a really strong friendship? I'm totally lost, any advice would be huge. My best friend unfaithful on me with my boyfriend. Okay, it's a wild story, alright. So, I was dating a guy in my senior year of college. We were living together, you know, just hanging out and being all cozy. After we graduated, we decided to do our postgrads together, but things didn't work out as planned. He got into one school, while I got accepted somewhere else. So, he stayed behind in the city, and I moved to a new place for my master's. Leading long distance was tough for me, so I thought it'd be better if we just called it quits. But the guy didn't agree, neither did I. So, we ended things amicably, but you know, reluctantly. 6 months later, WTF. Turns out he moved to my city and is staying in a building right next to mine. I tried to ignore him, but his sister came to town for some reason or another. She's got this idea that if her brother broke up with his girlfriend, she should also stay away from me. But, apparently, I was more important than her own sibling. So, she decided to stay at my place and kept pestering me to talk to him, saying we could just be friends. I mean, dumb me, but eventually, we became friends. We hung out and all, but he was dating someone else, multiple girls, actually. Nothing happened between us, trust me. Then came my birthday, and I invited everyone, my best friend, the ex, his sister, a mutual friend, and some office mates. The party was epic, man. But after that, things got weird. He stopped talking to me online, just kept video calling all the time. My best friend started hanging out with them more often, and suddenly, I felt like they were ignoring me completely. Then one day, my best friend told me a shocker, she's dating him now, and they're planning to get married. What? I was devastated, but tried to keep it cool. Then came the airport surprise, she had already flown in from 1,500 kilometers away. We played cards for a bit, then left. After 2 days, she asked me to meet them, which I flat out refused. Then she pulled some serious dirty moves, telling him to get his laptop back within an hour, even though it contained important work stuff. I managed to get everything done and gave it back, but by that time, I was done with all of them. I blocked everyone, especially his sister and friend. His friend because we were friends first, got that. But his sister? Because she had to take sides with him, no matter what. What the heck is going on here? After a couple of days, I called my best friend in tears, demanding answers. She said he's not my boyfriend anymore, so it's cool. That was when I realized everything was over, my 6th grade best friend chose someone else. The fact that they dated didn't hurt as much as the betrayal from her did. Now, I have no friends, 0 acquaintances, and I'm all alone with some serious trust issues. I don't think I'll ever get out of this. I'm losing my dad again. Hey Reddit family, let's dive into this one. So here goes, my dad and I have had a pretty rough relationship ever since he left when I was just 3 years old. To make things worse, he got remarried to someone who looks like a real zombie. She has 2 grown kids now too, 28 and 25, and another kid with him, making her my half-sister. This woman really messed up both of our lives. She brainwashed my dad and me so bad that she even made me doubt my own mom's intentions. But here's the thing, my mom has always been there for me, no matter what. It was pretty messed up how this woman tried to make me hate my dad too, but I knew better by then. For years, I've forgiven him and stuck by his side through thick and thin. The problem is, she started having health issues and realized that alienating her own daughter from my dad wasn't such a great idea. If something happens to her, my dad would be the only one who can take care of me sister. So now, this woman is back in my dad's life again, trying to win him over. She's making things seem okay between them, but my dad still acts like an arrogant jerk around me. I feel like he's going back to being the guy from before when she started whispering into his ear again. Even though everything seems to be okay now, she's planning on pushing us apart again. It feels like I'm losing the real person my dad was during all those years. It's really messed up and I don't know what to do. Can anyone give me some advice? 2 broken people. What he did to me, there's no way to explain it. When he was around, I felt like a shiny diamond. Nobody had ever made my heart skip beats the way he did. He drove me crazy, but in that exciting, electrifying way. No other boy had ever made me feel so beautiful. In his arms, I thought I had everything I wanted. I don't know if it was his tough guy vibe or those tattoos, but he had a special power over me. Every time he walked into the room, it felt like the whole world was spinning. I daydream about being in that gangster world anytime he was around. If he was the king of a lifetime of mistakes, then I was his queen. He was so bad, like, dangerously bad, but I loved it. He was the man I'd always dreamed of. My mascara would always be smudged from all the crying and laughing we did together. It's not like I was just some party girl, there was more to me than that. But when I first saw him, I wanted nothing more than to be a party girl again. Hooking up with him felt inevitable. We both wanted to celebrate our crazy fate, scream it from the rooftops, and let everyone know how broken we were but still connected in this twisted way. We were like 2 pieces of a shattered mirror, trying to find each other's reflections amidst all the shards. I have concerns about my future BIL and don't know how to approach it. I was super excited when my future brother-in-law, Alex, 30, invited me on his bachelor party. We hadn't hung out much since my sister, Emily, 29, moved across the country a few years back. Alex has always been really nice and made sure to keep her happy, so I couldn't wait to join him. The night started off like any other bachelor party, lots of drinks and jokes. But as we all got buzzed, something about Alex's behavior just felt off. He was talking non-stop about fights he had, like he was bragging about how tough he is. It reminded me of those guys who turn into bullies when they've had too much to drink. I'd never seen this side of him before, and it honestly made me uneasy. The next night, things got really wild. Alex started arguing with one of his wedding party members for no apparent reason. He stormed off, and it was pretty clear he wasn't in a good headspace. We tried talking to him, but he just wouldn't listen. I took an Uber with him back to the house to give him some space. An hour later, we all came back, and Alex was on a rampage. He started trying to fight everyone. It was crazy, we had to physically hold him down. The neighbors called the police, who showed up pretty quickly. We told them it was just a wild party, and they left after a while. Later that night, I went outside for some fresh air. Alex's 2 best friends were there, and they looked really worried. They said this kind of behavior happens more frequently than we thought. One even mentioned that he feels like Alex needs help. This hit me hard because Emily is going to marry Alex in a few months, and the idea of him getting drunk and acting violently makes my heart race. I can't just sit back and do nothing, but I'm scared to bring it up with Emily. She tends to shut down when things are tough, and I don't want to mess up our relationship or make her feel like she has to choose between us. Alex is a totally different person when he's sober, he loves Emily more than anything and quit smoking for her. He can change if we ask him to, but this just feels too big and too personal to handle on my own. It's tough, man. I just want what's best for everyone involved. The compass that pointed toward wonder. Every expedition carried usual stuff, maps, rations, rope, and lanterns. But each had one special item, an arcane compass. It didn't point north, instead, its silver needle always headed toward some undiscovered wonder. Some explorers grumbled about it, saying it never led to easy finds. Captain Celine loved that. On the 12th day of their trek through the Emerald Expanse, her crew expected another old ruin. But the compass did something unexpected, it pointed up. They looked at the sky, saw nothing but drifting clouds, and then, wham! The clouds parted, revealing an invisible island floating silently overhead. Stone bridges hung beneath it like tree roots, and gardens overflowed with glowing flowers. No map had ever mentioned this place. The crew cheered, but Captain Celine just smiled. "Good job, compass," she said. After hours of careful climbing, they reached the island. But there were no treasures or gold vaults, no legendary weapons either. Just a quiet garden surrounding an old pedestal. On it was one inscription: "The greatest discoveries are those left beautiful enough for the next traveler to find." The crew stood in silence, no one grabbed a chisel or filled a sack with souvenirs. Instead, the cartographer sketched every path, the botanist catalogued each flower, and the historian copied the inscription. Before leaving, Celine placed a fresh journal on the pedestal. Inside, she wrote just one sentence: "We found this place because someone before us chose to leave it untouched." When they descended, the arcane compass trembled. Its needle slowly turned, somewhere beyond the horizon, another wonder was waiting. AITA for telling my best friend, no gas money, no rides. My 23-year-old self and my 25-year-old best friend lived in a small, kinda boring town. So whenever we wanted to do something fun, it usually meant driving way out of town for some excitement. She always drove since she had her own car, but I'd chipped in on gas here and there because she never asked me to. For a while, I even covered more than my share. She was struggling with jobs back then. But things changed when I found myself jobless too. A few months ago, I finally mustered up the courage to ask her for half the gas money. She said no, but not convincingly. I knew she could afford it because she'd just spent $200 on a new guitar. From that point on, my "I'll get the next one" or snacks comments were met with excuses like "can't afford it right now." It was getting old fast. Last week, we went out for a night without drinking. I asked her to help pay for gas again but got another no. This time, I flipped. I told her to get out and said if she couldn't contribute, the trips were over. She cried, saying she never asked for anything from me and that our friendship was more important than money. I screamed back at her, calling her out on her priorities. I said if she really cared about us being friends, she would help with gas sometimes. Her next time promises fell flat as I stuck to my ultimatum: no gas money, no trips. Ever again. The next day, my girlfriend told me I could have handled it better by not losing my temper in front of everyone. But she agreed that I was right to set the boundaries. Now, I'm worried this might ruin our friendship, but I can't keep paying for everything and hoping for nothing in return. Am I being too hard on her? AITA for refusing to buy my friend's kid's drawing. I went on a fun trip with some friends, and one couple brought their little kid named Bobby. He's only 5 but he's super smart and sweet. He can be a bit spoiled though. During the trip, Bobby made some cute stick figure drawings. I have nephews and nieces around his age, and their artwork is all over my office. Bobby was asking everyone if they liked his drawings and even asked if we wanted one for ourselves. Naturally, most of us just said nice things and encouraged him. But when I mentioned wanting a drawing too, Bobby asked how much he should charge. It took me by surprise because I thought we were just friends, and that kind of stuff wasn't really my thing. Bobby's mom then chimed in with a suggestion: let's start a bidding war for the drawings. She said something about encouraging Bobby. Honestly, I was pretty shocked she suggested that, after all the time we'd spent playing with him during the trip. It felt like he'd already gotten so much attention and love, but here I was being asked to bid on his artwork. That just seemed too much. I told her no thanks, saying I didn't want to play along in some kind of game. Meanwhile, another friend offered Bobby $1, which sparked a little negotiation. They settled on something and paid him the money. Bobby's mom was upset that I didn't join in the bidding war, even though we'd spent so much time with Bobby and the other kids. It felt like everyone had already spoiled Bobby enough, and expecting me to bid for his drawings just seemed wrong. I didn't feel like I needed to apologize for not playing along. Did I do the right thing? Some people on Reddit have been really harsh on Bobby's mom, but I think she probably didn't mean anything by it. We've only known her a couple of years and our husbands are friends first. She's actually pretty young compared to the rest of us. This trip was supposed to be about relaxing and having fun, not getting into some weird bidding war over drawings. It's been an interesting lesson in how different we all are. AITA for stealing during a museum tour. I'm on vacation and recently visited this amazing museum. There was a big group that I think came from a cruise ship or something. The tour guide was explaining all these cool exhibits, doing an awesome job too. Most of the exhibits didn't have much English text, so his explanations were super informative. I kind of snuck up on them and listened in. At one point, he did a quick count to make sure everyone was still there, but realized they had too many people. I explained that I wasn't part of their group, I'd just been here when they came in. The guide didn't really seem to care, but some of the tourists got all upset. One of them said that she and her friends had paid good money for this tour, so I was basically stealing theirs by getting information for free. I tried to explain that everyone has a right to enjoy the museum and standing near the guide doesn't take away what they paid for. I kept up with the group, following their every step through the exhibits until they finished and left. My old man is bipolar and selfish. I totally can't figure my dad out. He's like this master manipulator who tries to control everything in my life, especially when it comes to my future and where I live. Whenever I want to take any big steps, like going back to school or moving out, he just turns around and tells me he needs me to help with his so-called responsibilities. It's like he's pushing us right back into mom's house again and again, even though that place is a total mess because of how she hoards everything. I remember the time I asked for some tutoring to help me get through school. Instead of being supportive, my dad made me do dishes first before I could go. Then I told him I had to use the bathroom, but he wouldn't let me go until I cleaned up properly. To me, that was just an excuse to get mad at me and make me feel disrespectful. He's always making us move back in with mom like it's some kind of punishment or something. It's already bad enough because she hoards everything, so the house is a huge mess. But he still gets to kick me out if I don't clean up his way. It's frustrating as heck that every time I try to make plans for my future, they get torn apart by him. I really need to find a way out of this situation, but no matter what plan I come up with, it always falls through because he just doesn't want me to be independent. It's so messed up and frustrating. Reconnected with my first love after years, but my past is haunting me. Man, my life has been a roller coaster since I was 17. That's when my first big love left me, breaking my heart into a million pieces. After that, I moved in with my older sister and started copying her everything, her clothes, her music, even the way she carried herself. In our country, everyone is so traditional, but at 21, I still managed to start a relationship with this guy. We got pretty serious, and things went all the way, you know, the works. We dated for about a year before we called it quits. Now, almost 6 months later, I've reconnected with him, and it feels like old times, but there's a heavy cloud of fear hovering over me. If he ever finds out about my past, let alone those explicit messages and nudes I exchanged with another guy or how I kissed this other one on the chest, it's game over. Even though I'm still a virgin, I know that stuff would be totally unacceptable to him. I've also done some things I feel really bad about. Like, twice in a big supermarket, I tried to pass items through the self-checkout without scanning them. I don't even know why. The security caught me both times and showed me the videos. I felt so embarrassed that I started making jokes about it, changing details and all. But here's the kicker, I told some of those people who knew my secret as mutual friends with my first love. Now every time I think about this, a wave of shame hits me like a tidal wave. I wish more than anything I could erase all of it, but that's not possible. Every memory makes me feel guilty and regretful. I faked an email timestamp to prove I turned a paper in on time and now it's turned into a formal integrity meeting. I'm a senior, history major, just one semester from being done with school. And yeah, I wrote that paper myself. Let me say that right off the bat because no one's gonna believe this next part. I submitted my paper through the course portal around what felt like before midnight. But it logged in at 12:14 a.m. My professor has a strict rule, no late work means losing a whole letter grade, no exceptions. So when he emailed asking where my paper was, I panicked and told him I'd also sent it to his personal email at 11:40 p.m., saying it must have gone into spam. He said he never got anything. So, I forwarded the original email with a little modification. I changed the send time on it first, embarrassing how long that took me. Now, he can see my portal timestamp doesn't match what I told him. And there's this big meeting next week about academic integrity. The part that keeps me up at night is that I actually did all the work. I'd have taken the late penalty and been fine with it. But instead, I lied for 14 minutes, and now it's something that could follow my name around. I keep telling myself I'll just come clean in the meeting. Then I think about saying those words out loud and decide to bluff it one more time.